Stage 19 of the Giro D'Italia 2024 would see the peloton racing in the northeast of the country, the far northeast, in the region of Friuli, Venezia Giulia. Beautiful area, lots of short, sharp climbs, some mightier mountains as well, and 143 riders remaining, all vying for one final probable breakaway bonanza. This stage started in Mortigliano and would head to Sappada, 157 kilometres, going through a few towns, home to a couple of the big names in the peloton, notably Alessandro De Marchi, Matteo Fabro, and the Maglia Ciclamino, Jonathan Milan. A finish uphill in Sappada, scene of one of the most dramatic episodes in Giro history. Roche, Visentini, and an eventual win for the Irishman. No such drama at the start. It would be, though, a fast, furiously ridden stage. At the fastest Giro ever to this point, 42.4 kilometers per hour, the average speed before this 19th stage. The fastest race ever recorded until this moment, 40.1, 11 years previous. And it would continue that way, groups forming off the front. But the early group that had gone away, including the likes of Affini and Milesi, would be brought straight back and attacked by Julien Alaphilippe. That when they got on the streets of San Daniele del Friuli. Well, cured ham is the famous product there, and riders matured in the legs after 18 hard days of racing would be still fighting to get up the road. A few more kilometres passed and it would be no clearer as to who would get away, but as the gap grew to 41 seconds, they still tried behind. It was brought back again to 20-odd seconds. Narvaez, Alaphilippe were up the road. Tratnik and company were trying to get across. Alessandro De Marchi was the last to get on, and then that was that. 19 of the strongest riders in the Giro coming together with just over 80 kilometres to go. Almost half of the stage ridden. Most of the climbing was still to come. Luc Platt was there, as was Andrea Vendrame. So could they get organised? Behind, they'd raise the white flag. No problems for the breakaway to take the stage on this particular day. And no issues, as Manuele Tarozzi took the Intergiro. After that, though, there'd be moves. Hardest climb of the day was the Passo d'Uron, and Alaphilippe up against riders who had a couple of teammates, particularly EF Education Easy Post. 3 riders have been in there. Honoré joined by Steinhauser and Valgren. Steinhauser would be able to go with Alaphilippe, who'd attack the group again. Sanchez, Hermons, Vendrame, all there too. And with 38 kilometres to go, Alaphilippe at the front of the race. Luc Platt hadn't given up though. He was struggling with gastrointestinal problems, but still worked really hard to get back onto the group with 36 kilometres remaining. Given a helping hand too. Over the penultimate climb of the day, and Andrea Vendrame, as the rain started to fall, managed to get away on the descent. Just a few seconds from the chasing competitors, but his technical abilities, allied to the courage he was showing, was good. In the meantime, the Maglia Rosa group was almost a quarter of an hour behind. Nobody was dangerous in the overall, however. Jonathan Narvaez over an hour down, the best placed. And Vendrame still the best placed, going to the final climb of the day up to Sappada. He'd have over a minute. Behind, they dillied, they dallied. No agreement, really, to chase properly. Steinhauser cast out. Sanchez, also a previous winner at this Giro, went away. They try and chase, leaving the likes of Alaphilippe and Narvaez behind. Still there, and over the final climb of the day, though, Andrea Vendrame, the Italian rider from the nearing Veneto region, coming into the final kilometre. A stage winner at the Giro 3 years before this, and he'd do it again. Just a 5th career victory. His team's 22nd of the season, however, and a man from Prosecco country, Conegliano, popping his 2nd cork in the Giro. A super win for Andrea Vendrame, and one that he didn't look like pulling off for a long time. Sanchez 2nd, Steinhauser 3rd. 2 new names really announcing themselves at this race. Well, a sensationally hard-fought stage. Alaphilippe still coming up behind. Not quite the second coming of a cycling star at this Giro. But Narvaez, still fighting to make sure that he's the man that represents Ecuador at the Olympic Games, would also finish well. Heroic rides all over this Giro d'Italia. In the meantime, behind, there was an attempt to try and make things difficult and move further up in the top 10 from Einer Rubio. And Geraint Thomas would suffer a crash with 6Ks from the finish. A touch of wheels as they were all looking around. A new bike required. But at the front, Tadej Pogačar and co waiting for Thomas to come back. No changes in the top 10 overall. One final battle still to come on the slopes of Monte Grappa. Delight then for Andrea Vendrame. The first time in the history of them coming to this race that Decathlon win 2 stages in a single edition of the Giro. They've still got O'Connor on 4th as well. It is a mightily good Tour of Italy for the team from France. Vendrame, Sanchez, Steinhauser, Narvaez and Platt the top 5. Velasco, Tratnik, Valgren, Alaphilippe and Hermons all in the top 10. And in the Maglia Rosa standings, 7 minutes 42 still for Tadej Pogačar, with one meaningful stage still remaining. Dani Martinez, Geraint Thomas, Ben O'Connor ready to fight it out for the podium. It will be an 18th day in the Maglia Rosa for the man from Slovenia. And with a double shot of grappa remaining at the end of a big Giro meal, digested at warp speed, let's see how it all goes down on the penultimate day of the race. It finishes in Bassano del Grappa. Those 2 huge mountain tests back to back. And we go to the final day in Rome. You can watch the final weekend of the Giro d'Italia on Eurosport, Discovery Plus, or if you're in the USA, on Max.